What's up? What's going on? Hey, it's Pastor Joe Moss here, and I hope all is well with you and yours. And most times, what happens is that people don't get a chance to know who they're listening to. It's hard as a leader to be vulnerable and share some things that has happened in our life that I think that can connect us better to each other. And so, I want to share a story with you. There was a day that I drowned, but I didn't die. I don't think you understand the magnitude of some of the things that God has put me through as I kept walking and kept becoming the person that He's called me to be. And as a leader, I don't think you ever really arrive. That's the thing. The person that stops is the person that ceases to grow. So I want to share this drowning story with you because I think we've all been through moments that are tough and can be challenging and it can stretch us to the greatest lengths that we have ever been through. So it was on June 8th, 2021, and I went to the beach expecting an ordinary day. I had been through some difficult seasons before, like many people. I had responsibilities, goals, dreams, and pressure just like everybody else. Life was busy for me, ministry was busy, family was busy, but nothing about that morning suggested that my life was about to change. I think at some point, I found myself in the ocean. Went way out on a sandbar, and what started as a normal situation quickly became something very different. The current was stronger than I realized. The waves were stronger than I realized. And before long, I was fighting for my life. I did everything that I knew to do. I swam, I kicked, I fought, I pushed, I tried harder. But the harder I fought, the more exhausted I became. And eventually, something happened that I will never forget. I realized I was losing, not figuratively, like seriously, like literally losing. I was drowning. And there comes a moment when your strength just runs out completely. A moment when my experience runs out. A moment when my confidence was just gone. A moment when all the things you normally depend on are no longer enough. And I reached that moment. I remember as I slipped under the water and the waves are crashing over my head and I wasn't returning back to the surface. I had to get to the place where I fully surrendered to God. I let it all go. I said, God, I said, I never expected it to end like this. I thought there was more things that we were going to do together. My wife, my kids, take care of them. And I remember asking God, I said, Lord, if this is your will, let it be done. And then something amazing happened. The panic disappeared. The fear disappeared. The struggle disappeared. All because of the simple prayer. Lord, your will be done. Not my will, not my plans, not my timeline. Your will be done. And those words weren't I wasn't listen, this is hard to even tell sometimes, you think about the goodness of God and how he just watches over you. But those weren't words I was saying because I expected to survive. Those were words of a man who had completely surrendered. I genuinely believed those oh man, it's tough. I genuinely believed that those might have been my last words that I ever spoke. I remember that when I went under the surface, everything became quiet. I was at peace, drowning, waiting for what was next, which I thought was death. And then something happened. And to this day, I cannot fully explain it. I, I saw this hand reaching down in the water as I looked up, and I reached up and I grabbed it, and I felt the hand, and all of a sudden it pulled me up out of the water, and I heard a voice. The voice told me, said, "Hey, roll to your back," and my body automatically did it. I experienced a rescue that I know did not come from me. Somehow, some way, I was brought back. I drowned, but I didn't die. And before you go and say, well, how can you prove that? Listen, later medical professionals confirmed what I already knew. By all practical measures, I should not have survived, but I did. And for a long time, people focused on the miracle of the rescue. I mean, me being one of those, right? The miracle of the survival, the miracle of being saved. And don't get me wrong, it was a miracle. I give God all the glory and the credit for what he's done. But over time, I realized the greatest miracle wasn't that God saved me that day. The greatest miracle is what God has been doing in me ever since. Because survival was not the finish line, it was the starting line. And once I began to understand that right there, I realized that God didn't preserve my life so I could return to business as usual. He preserved my life so I can become who He created me to be. That's when I began to understand something that I now teach everywhere I go. Many people want God to save them, but few understand that after salvation comes transformation. After rescue comes rebuilding. After deliverance comes discipleship. After the miracle comes the journey. See, we celebrate the moment God pulls us out of the water, but we often overlook the years He spent shaping us afterward. God wasn't finished with me when He rescued me. He wasn't finished with Moses at the burning bush. He wasn't finished with Peter after the boat. He wasn't finished with Paul after Damascus. And He's not finished with you. The Christian life is not about one moment. It's about a lifetime of becoming. And every day since that beach, God has continued to shape me, continued to humble me, continued to stretch me, continued to teach me, continued to transform me. I am not who I was before the water. And I'm not yet who God is calling me to become. But I'm still walking. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I'm still becoming. And that's why I tell people everywhere I go to keep walking, keep becoming. Because if you're still breathing, God is still working. If you're still here, God is not finished. If you're still standing, there is still purpose ahead of you. Listen, I'm a witness. I drowned, but I didn't die. And every day since has been another step in the journey of becoming the man God saved me to be. So I just want to encourage you. Keep walking. Keep becoming. God is not done with you yet. I drowned, but I didn't die. Saved by grace, but saved for something bigger than what I could even understand. Let's go. Let's go make God famous today.